All right, we're back. We're going to do some listener questions. Man, that was fun. Oh, ought to be young. All right, here we go. Listener questions. Whether the Green Bay model has been right all along after $6 billion transaction for the Commanders, NFL's looking hard at the private equity to buy teams. So basically, the question is, what if everybody could buy into a team via private equity? And maybe it's not private equity traditionally, but it's like, everybody could buy in, have a fun, and be an owner. The Green Bay Packers have been essentially, not really, but they've kind of done that since the 20s when they could buy stock in the Packers. That would be awesome. This is actually the model that's done in like member clubs over in Europe, is where people buy into a membership for a team. They can have sponsors, but the team's owned by members of the community, and it's fantastic. So I think that's a great idea. From a player perspective, is there a difference in culture between Green Bay and other organizations? Yes. So what are the main differences? Green Bay not having an owner. I've talked about this before. Not having an owner is a big deal. Just because the way that owner can, be involved, not be involved. I've been in a couple different situations. I think that's the big deal. But the other thing is you got to understand, whoever the head coach or general manager, whoever's in charge, it's like their way of doing business. It's going to be if they're doing it right, it's going to be their culture. So if they have a strong culture, it's going to be remarkably different than somebody you come in and maybe doesn't have that part of the game figured out. Maybe, sometimes a great play caller doesn't make you a great head coach. Why? They don't know how to develop a culture. Okay, so it's how difficult is continuity on the offensive line when guys are swapped in and out throughout the year? The 5 guys thing is really determined by how good those 5 guys are. If you got 5 good players or 7 good players and you're rotating a couple, like, you're going to be okay. Maybe the problem happens if those 2 players don't get enough time, like that are right next to each other. They'd have to work on B blocks, double teams, things like that. Or if like these guys aren't very good, like if you got guys that are swapping in and out that aren't very good, well, then yeah, your team's going to suffer. But I mean, if you had 5 all pros, like you go to the Pro Bowl and say, hey, you 5 just go start a game and here's the playbook, they're going to be okay. Like life's going to be all right. They're going to have to work out some things from a communication standpoint, but it's going to be okay. So if they're doing that already in practice and you got good players, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. It does affect that individual who's swapping out. It does affect their confidence. It does affect their ability to get into rhythm. So those things at the individual level might show up, or we might look at them and say, oh, they don't have continuity. No, it's like that one player's not playing as well. How important is team chemistry at this level? Is there anything that really helps or hurts team chemistry? Yeah, it's huge. Locker room, huge. It's big, right? Accountability to your teammates and to yourself is big. Like being able to say, my bad. I did you wrong there. My bad. That was my mistake. How are we going to correct that? Can you help me on this? I know I need help. Dudes just getting along is big. Whether or not you whether or not you believe in what the coaches or the general manager is doing is actually a big deal. Like if you think that guy's helping your position group play better, are they putting you in positions to win? That's a big deal. Those things, like it's players wanted 2 things, right? Be put in positions to succeed and have the tools to be, help to find the tools to find success. If you can do that stuff, like you're going to have a lot of success. If you don't, you're going to have a lot of like, team chemistry. If you don't, it can be a problem, right? Because it's not just all about, we're not all hired guns here. We want to think of ourselves as this team once we're on the team, but ultimately you do have to feel like you're being a position to play well. And if you're not, I think that's a problem. Were you the best O-line? Were you guys the best O-line in Packers history? We're talking about Clifton, me, Mike Flanagan, Marco Rivera, Mark Tauscher. I'll add Kevin Barry and Bubba to that because they were such a big part of what we did. Obviously, Will and Amon, such a big part of what we did. Brett, of course, such a big part of what we did. Listen, when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, you're going to be probably better than you really were. We happen to have a Hall of Fame quarterback. We had an all-pro running back. We had guys – I mean, look, I would just look at it this way. Like the guy who never got a Pro Bowl and all pro vote on that team was Tauscher. And if you think about it now and you look at like how talented left defensive ends are, how much right tackles are getting paid, like how important that position is. And maybe it was a little bit different back then, but Tauscher was maybe the linchpin in this sense. Like most guys, most right tackles then couldn't pass rush or couldn't pass protect. They were not very good. That was the kind of the worst guy on the line, and he couldn't be beat. So a lot of the things that we could do were maybe different than other teams because Tausch never got beat. Never got beat. Now he wasn't. I don't know if he. I think he would probably say he wasn't the most physical guy on our team, but he just didn't lose in pass pro. And when you've got a guy over there that's never going to lose, um, that helps a lot. Are Ricky running backs intimidated by the fact they can't out athlete guys in the NFL? Well, some are. Bijan Robinson wasn't because he could. I think when you get into the league, I think, if you can pick up the blitz, understand like all the mental game of that's different than college. I think running backs get a lot of heat put on their table compared to college. If you can pick up the blitz, if you understand pass protection, then I don't know that you can't, whatever you were doing from running back position in college, if you're at a high level, I think it's going to work the same. I think the big difference is like, can you pick up the blitz? If you can pick up the blitz, you're going to play. If you can't, you won't. And maybe some of the stuff in the passing game, depending on where you went to college. Can the Packers keep Pratt and Clifford at quarterback? Well, yeah, you can keep 3 guys. If those are your 3, one of them will be, I think, that game day decision. And let's see, last one. What is it like growing up in Lake Arrowhead? How many offers out of high school? Well, I went to the Naval Academy. That was my only option for Division I. I had a couple 1AA things at the Ivy League schools. Lake Arrowhead's awesome. I was by far part of the worst high school football program of any of my friends in college or pro. We were Division 8. We were never over 500. I was playing quarterback and didn't know the difference between man and zone. Like we had, it was that part of the program. That part of living there was terrible. I was begging my parents to move me to down the hill to play at a more competitive school when I was younger. Had a great kind of run of it in basketball, but a great place to grow up. Yeah, shoot, you can go boarding in the winter. You can go, water skiing in the summer. It's a resort. It's a working class resort based community. One of my best friends from high school coaches up there right now. Their football program is actually quite good. But God, I was fired up talking to the young man there. He's just got such a bright future, and you just think about coming in with Hafley's system and him being able to kind of pin his ears back and penetrate. Like, I just think you're going to see a lot of Karl Brooks this year. I think, obviously I think Devontae Wyatt's going to take another step forward as well. But there's that he's got this thing that you can't explain. He's got this intangible thing. Like, he's around the football way more than everybody else. And that makes him unique, and that makes him very valuable. So hope you enjoyed it. I hope I asked enough questions for that to be worth his time, worth yours. Find me Mike168 on Twitter, X, Process to Perform on Instagram. Thanks again to Karl Brooks. Like, rate, right? Subscribe. I can't talk today. Like, subscribe, rate, and review on our YouTube channel, Process to Perform. That is it. I'll have this one out. Appreciate it, guys. Have a great one.